No, that's not a problem.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Honorable Commissioners. Mr. Samba, can you show Mr. Samba MS 83 so that he knows what I'm talking about?
Hear it, please.
Can you look at that exhibit, the lease? I believe you had your copy. It was my copy that was tendered.
Yes.
Yes, all right. What was the arrangement between Amasa, is it fishing, and Gamvej in relation to the land?
Actually, initially, it was, they wanted me to sign a tenancy agreement with them, with the other shareholders. But that was when I had 30% shares. And my shareholding was increased to 50%. And that's when I decided that I will surrender the land to the project.
It was increased to 50%, you said? 50?
Initially, it was 30%.
Yes, and it was increased to 50%?
To 50%.
50?
Yeah, that is when I decided that I should surrender the land to the project.
So you're saying the consideration for the share increase?
Pardon?
The consideration for the share increase from 30 to 50 is the land?
No, it's not only the land. I mean, I did all the structures there. That is, there are two massive structures there to house the equipments.
Okay, and that was included?
That was included in the computation of my shareholding.
Okay, the extra 20%?
Pardon?
The extra 20%? The extra 20%
Yeah,
share?
the extra 20%, yes, was the consideration for the land.
Right. Is this in writing? Is it anywhere, any record for this?
Not really. I mean, you are talking about a relationship between partners. I mean, like in the business world, a mere handshake is like a contract. You know, I mean, you have to trust. You have to develop a lot of trust if you want to survive in business. It's not everything you formalize, because once you start talking about formalizing every step, I mean, it makes the whole thing look, I don't know how to call it.
So you are saying that that land belongs to Gamvej. That's what I understand. Can you retrieve the exhibit, please?
The land
Thank you.
is in my name, but I intend to transfer it to Gamvej.
Mr. Samba, I'm hearing two things. You are saying that your shareholding in Gamvej was increased to 50%.
Yes.
And part of the consideration is that land and the structures you built on that land.
Exactly.
The only thing outstanding is that an assignment was not perfected.
Exactly, ma'am.
Very well. Can I have the exhibit? Gamvej also bought storage tanks at the ports. Storage tanks.
Yes,
at the Gambia, at the ports.
Exactly.
I'm going to show you some documents. And these are leasing arrangement for site located in GPA premises behind Old Customs and Excise headquarters. I'm going to show you a letter dated 21st November 2005, which appears to have been signed by you. Letters, dated 21st November 2005 and 28 November 2005, as well as a lease agreement between the Gambia Ports Authority and Gambia Company Limited and a letter from the sheriff. I'd like you to take a look at them.
Yes, I wrote this letter.
Okay, there are two letters, and there is a lease
yes.
as well. What is called the lease?
Yes, that's I wrote this letter, leasing of site located in GPA premises behind the old Customs and Excise head office. And there is a draft lease agreement between the Gambia Ports Authority and Gambia. Yeah, I also signed that one.
You signed it?
Yes.
Okay. And there is a last letter from the Sheriff of the High Court notifying Gambia Ports Authority of the acquisition of tanks by Gambia.
That is correct, ma.
You can identify that
yes,
letter?
ma.
All right. Can I have the bundle of documents, please? Show it. Mr. Samba, it's correct that the lease is for the period 11th October 2005 to 31st of December 2020.
Precisely, if that is what is on the lease.
Mr. Chairman, I'm applying to have admitted lease agreement between the Gambia Ports Authority and Gambia Oil Company Limited, dated 11th day of October 2005, with associated letters.
lease agreement dated 11th October 2005 between Gambia Ports Authority and Gamvej Company Limited relating to land situated within the Gambia Ports Authority premises at Banjul Port, plus related documents. Admitted Mag MS 84.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Samba, you negotiated that lease on behalf of Gambia?
Yes, ma'am.
Gambia Ports Authority claims no rent was paid from 2010 to 2016.
Come again, ma'am.
Gambia Ports Authority says no rent was paid from 2010 to date, basically. Are you aware of this?
Well, I don't know whether there is any way of confirmation of the notification of arrears of rent. As far as I know, I've never been notified of arrears of rent. Apart from that, you know, I mean, even if there is arrears of rent, we've never been notified, one. Two, the president took over the factory. In the circumstances, we're not even in a position to pay the rent, because at that time he was in occupation of the premises, and I don't know at that time why didn't they investigate or ask us. You know, the whole thing, I don't know. We are prepared to pay, but one has to also, there are mitigating circumstances. Okay, it is our responsibility because I signed the tenancy agreement, but also I think the port should also look at the mitigating circumstances.
Did you notify the ports that the president had taken over the factory and it was no longer the factory belonging to Gambia?
But it was de facto. Everybody knew about it. I mean, you had soldiers occupying the premises. It was common knowledge.
Which premises were soldiers occupying? The premises on the ports at the ports? The Gambia premises at Denton Bridge, or the premises at the ports?
Yes, ma'am. But by implication, like the premises, Gambia, the operations as a whole is the factory and the tanks at the port. So by implication, if he occupies the factory,
isn't that a presumption you're now making, Mr.
That's the presumption
Samba?
I'm making. That's the presumption
but
exactly.
Gambia is the tenant. They entered into a tenancy agreement.
That's why I said that we'll take responsibility, but they have to look at the surrounding circumstances. I mean, why, for instance, should we pay rent when the president was occupying the factory?
That's why I asked you the question, how did you bring it to their attention that the factory was no longer in your possession and somebody else was occupying and would be responsible?
I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Samba. Mr. Chairman, I'm moving on to some other subject, unless commissioners would like to ask questions on the Gambia issue.
Mr. Samba, in the tenancy agreement, you signed as both chairman and managing director. Do you notice that?
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, we just saw the agreement.
Yes, but it was a mistake then.
Yeah, because that now gives you day-to-day responsibility.
Pardon?
By signing as chairman and managing director, you are assuming day-to-day responsibility.
No, but, sir, I mean, I signed this letter at the initial stage of the venture. If you look at the date, it's dated, I think, 2005.
Correct.
And the factory didn't come into operation then. You know, I mean, I signed it at the initial stage. That is when we just started putting things together.
Okay.
So that's the reason why I assumed the position of board chairman, managing director, because it was only me and Hussein. Okay. And Hussein was not in the jurisdiction. So I had to take responsibility. But when the shares were transferred, I mean, when Bazi was transferred 50% of the shares, that's when I surrendered all those responsibilities.
Okay, fair enough. Now, is there anywhere on record that you are no longer chairman and managing director, and that Fadi Mazegi is the chairman?
Yeah, I mean,
or managing director?
Apart from anything on record, like I said, we didn't have any board meeting to formalize all these things. But by necessary implication, I was not signing any check. I was not transferring any monies. I mean, I was a mere investor. Fadi was running the show together with Mohamed Bazi.
Fair enough. Just what I want. Is there even an appointment letter notifying Fadi that he's now in charge?
That's what I am saying. We didn't have any formal board meeting to appoint who or whatever. But by necessary implication, you can even ask those people whether I was ever involved in the management and financial activity of Gambia. I'm sure the answer will be no. I'm positive about that.
Thanks. I'm okay for now.
Very well, Council. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Samba, we'll move on to Euro-Africa Group Limited. You are a shareholder of Euro-Africa Group Limited.
Sorry. Yes, I'm a shareholder.
And you hold how many shares?
45%.
How long have you been 45% shareholder of Euro-Africa Group Limited?
I think there was a transfer of shares. It was then, that is when I think I own 45% shares was transferred in my name.
Yes, I assume there was a transfer, but when? Do you have a copy of the transfer?
I have the records, yes.
Were you a founding shareholder?
Pardon?
Were you a founding shareholder?
Founding shareholder, yes. I was. Ma.
Okay.
Yeah. I have it here, ma. That's the incorporation document.
Yes, can you tell us the date when you became 45% owner? Was that you are 45% owner from the beginning, or there was a transfer of shares?
I think there was, well, this is the certificate of incorporation.
Is that a document that tells us whether you're 45%
That's the document.
owner? That's the document.
That is the document.
What document is that?
This is the memorandum of association.
Okay. Very well. What is the date of the memorandum of association? Does it go with the article, so it's just the memorandum of association?
It's the memorandum of association of Euro-African. It was dated 18th day of March 2004.
As a matter of interest, who were the original shareholders according to that memorandum and articles?
I don't know, but I think it was Bilal and Mohammed Basi. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Because here you have Bilal Nabil Bazi to Mohammed Bazi. There is a transfer of shares here of 51%. And I think maybe subsequently Manhal transferred the 4%, because I can see Manhal having 4% here.
So at the moment, there are two shareholders.
At the moment, there are only two shareholders.
That's yourself, 45%, Mr. Mohammed Bazi, 55%.
Exactly.
I believe we have a copy of the memorandum. We'll retrieve it in a moment.
Pardon?
And show it. I believe we have a copy of the memorandum.
I do, ma'am.
But do you have the transfer of shares document to you? You were mentioning a transfer.
Yes, I have
of
the
shares.
transfer from Bilal to Mohammed Bazi. It's here.
All right. Very well. Since it doesn't affect you, that's fine. Mr. Samba, how did you come to know Mr. Mohammed Bazi?
I was introduced to Mohammed Bazi by one Tariq Musa of TK Motors.
How did you come into, was that the first, is Euro-African Group Limited the first company in which you invested together with Mr. Bazi?
Exactly. Wow.
It's the first company?
It's the first one.
Okay. What other companies did you invest in which he was also a shareholder?
I think it's only Euro-African and Gambia. I was not involved in global electricity and all these other things.
Are you sure, Mr. Samba?
Pardon?
Are you sure you didn't invest in one of the global trading group, 1%?
Never.
Very well. You invested in Gam Petroleum?
I did.
Okay. And that is a company in which Mr. Mohammed Bazi had a significant stake?
That is correct.
How did you come to invest in Euro-Africa Group Limited?
Actually, I was approached by Mohammed Bazi to make partner with him in Euro-African Group, since he said that I am a local and he needed a local counterpart. And also he realized that I have enough collateral.
You have enough? Sorry, I didn't
Collateral.
Collateral.
In terms of land to offer for the venture.
What was the venture as conceived when the company was incorporated?
It was for the importation of fuel.
At the time the company was incorporated, the Bazi Group, you let us know whether that included yourself, had secured some contracts with government.
I'm not sure about that, because when the company started, it started with very modest capital. In fact, at that time, I offered my personal guarantee in all the banks.
Mr. Mohabazi had already been investing in the energy sector.
Yeah, he was already in order. I think initially he invested in the electricity sector, but I was very categorical with him. I told him that I'm not interested in the electricity business. I'm not interested in anything to do with NAWEC. Because initially when we started, it was purely for the importation of light fuel. So when
yes,
pardon?
No, go ahead.
You know, initially when we started, it was, the whole purpose was for the importation of light fuel. And I gradually saw him going into electricity. And there was some kind of conflict of interest in the sense that, I mean, he had his own generators, which required heavy fuel. So being a partner with him for just light fuel, I made it clear to him that anything to do with electricity, count me out. And we had that understanding.
In fact, he had already invested in the electricity sector by 2004. But in any event, you are the one telling your own story.
Yeah.
Now, when did you first obtain the exclusive contract to supply fuel to the Gambia?
I am not in a position to say.
Why not, Mr. Samba?
The reason because from the word go, it was Mohamed Bazi that was taking care of the management and the financial activities of the company.
Are you saying you had no role in
Absolutely.
in obtaining exclusivity from government?
Absolutely not. I have never been to Ministry of Finance. I have never been anywhere. Absolutely. I have never been anywhere to discuss things relating to Euro-African. Not me.
You are director of the company?
I was a director, but I resigned.
When did you resign?
I resigned 15 December 2010.
You have a letter of resignation?
I do. Can I read it?
Yes, let's see the letter of resignation first.
Okay.
Okay. Do you have any other documents relating to your
Yes.
position in the so that we can
Actually, when I wrote to resign, I took a further step by asking Mohamed Bazi to indemnify me for any act or omission. And I have this here. I registered it because since I was not involved in the day-to-day running, I was not involved in the financial activities of the company, you know, I have children and really I need to be protected. That is why I insisted that he should sign an indemnity for me. That is to say that he will indemnify me and hold me harmless.
Okay, before you go into the document, you have an indemnity. Let me have that.
Yes.
Now, do you have any other documents relating to your directorship or shareholdership in the company? I'd just like to put them in as a bundle.
Yes, yes. Please. Sorry. No, that is all, ma'am.
That's all you have?
Yes, apart from the memorandum and articles of association.
Do you have any documents relating to meetings, minutes of meetings of the Board of Directors?
Yes,
Do you
ma'am.
have an
I think
resolution?
board meetings, I have. Minute, you have a minute. 2 meetings. Minutes. Wow. Yes. I have copies of board resolutions too, although it's not very clear. Certificate of incorporation and the memorandum of association, business registration, the TIN number.
As I said, we do have the memorandum and articles.
Pardon?
We have the memorandum and
okay,
articles
no
of
need.
Euro Africa Group
All
Limited.
right. Thank you, ma'am.
We'll show it to you.
Thank you.
The board resolution is a bit difficult to read. You don't have better copies.
Actually, I don't. It's not very legible. But I will try and get you something more clear.
These, Mr. Samba, I'm going to show you a folder which is MS63. And I'd like you to confirm that these two board resolutions that are not quite legible are documents in that folder. Could you just identify them in that folder?
Okay, ma'am.
Hold on. Just to confirm that the resolutions you want admitted are resolutions already in that folder.
Yes.
Are they already in that folder?
Yes, they are here.
All right. Can you, then you can retain the resolution. Can you bring back the folder, please?
Thank you very much. Yes.
Can you give the dates?
Can you compare them?
Yes, they are the same.
Yes. Give the dates for the record. Give the dates of the resolutions.
I have only 2 here.
Sorry, what date?
I have 2.
Yes,
which I signed.
give the dates.
Just 1 minute. One was for 10th March 2010. And the other one was for 6 January 2010.
Can you tell us the resolution of 10 March 2010, what it is about?
The resolution of 10 March is at a meeting of the board approves the 2005 financial statement of Euro Africa.
Okay. And the second one?
At a meeting of the board, Euro African Group had Wednesday, the board appoints Fadi Mazeji as company director with immediate effect. The board resolves that Mohamed Bazi and Fadi Mohamed are hereby appointed separately as authorized signatories, fully authorized to open and operate accounts in the name of Euro African without any restrictions with Lebanese Canadian Bank. The board resolved that Mohamed Bazi and Fadi are hereby authorized to borrow funds in the name of the company. The board resolved that all correspondence from the bank to be addressed as per the instructions of Mohamed Bazi and Fadi.
Thank you, Mr. Samba. Can you collect the folder, please? Now you have provided to me. Let's put it here. Certificates of incorporation and business registration for Euro Africa Group. That also we have.
Yes,
Excuse me, can you give this back to Mr. I'll just give it back. You have also provided a document entitled Indemnification Clause in connection with Euro Africa Group Limited.
Yes, ma'am.
Now I see that it is registered as serial registration number 32 of 2017. This is registered on the 2nd March 2017. May I ask that at the time, although it's dated 28th of April 2011, at the time this indemnification was given, it was not registered?
It was registered at the registry. It was registered, I don't know how to call it.
There is no indication on the document that it was registered?
There is one. I think Mary should be able to get that.
There is an registered indemnification?
Yes, it was registered at
where?
With this lady,
The Registrar of Companies or Registrar General?
I think it was Register of Companies, something like that. There is one.
If there is one, we would require that
I
you
think we
produce
have it, Mary. Yeah, can you show it to her?
Now, the letter of resignation, which is dated 15 December 2010, signed by yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That's it. It was signed by Ellen Jai. I have it here.
Can you collect the document from the witness?
21/12/2011.
Okay, these are stamp duty receipts.
Pardon?
So, you have attached to them filing fees. Okay.
I have.
No, not the TIN number. Mr. Chairman, may I apply to have admitted documents produced by this witness? One, a document dated 15 December 2010, addressed to Muhammad Bazi, Director, Fadi Mazegi, Director, Euro-African Group Limited, from the witness, with regard to resigning as Director on the Board of Directors as of end 31st December 2010. A document called Indemnification Clause in connection with Euro-Africa Group Limited, bearing serial registration number 32/2017, volume 24 KD. And a same document bearing a stamp from the Registrar of Companies dated 21st December 2011, and some receipts.